Buckle up, because we're merging back into traffic on Radio Nemo's Nemo Nation.
You know, the weirdest thing happened. Well, this isn't weird, but, well, you'll understand what I mean in a second. Last week, a few days ago, I opened up Spotify to listen to some music, and it tells me that I have this new program now that I can look at my whole year of Spotify listening. Do you know about this, Andre?
Yeah, the Wrapped.
The Wrap, yeah. Well, I'm on the way home from the gym. I'm in the driveway, got home, and I'm getting my phone. I was listening to some music, and I saw that. So I'm sitting in the car now, and I'm looking at all this stuff, and holy cow. Wow. So I opened up the notes that Jane Jazrawy, our dear friend from the now western edge of Canada, and of course, he heads up Carrier's Edge. He wants to do a show this morning called Taking Stock, a Spotify wrapped approach to education station. Jane, come on, that was just meant to happen, I guess. Huh? Good morning. Yeah.
So there was actually news because I think Google did their own version, and Jimmy Kimmel was on, like, something about the most searched things, and Jimmy Kimmel was on it, was talking about how he had bet against himself on one of those betting sites about whether or not he would be, and he was, so he lost some money. Yeah, those things are really interesting.
I know, and I couldn't believe what the number one song on my playlist that I listened to more than any other song in the year. I just can't believe it was that song.
Okay, what was it? What was the song that you listened to the most?
That's funny, because I don't even remember the name of it, but I will tell you. It's something about happiness. I'll find it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I do know. Okay, so this is very bizarre. I do not use Spotify at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't even have an account, so
Okay.
I know about Spotify Wrapped. I think it's a really, really good marketing campaign, but I do not actually use Spotify.
Okay.
Wow.
What do you use?
I know. I'm like the one person. I like listening to podcasts. And so I'm kind of like, my podcast app is, I listen to that almost every day. But I almost don't listen to music at all. I like talk radio. That's why I like you, Dave.
Well, thank you very much. See, I'm a music guy. But we all are. But actually, Spotify, you can get podcasts on Spotify too. Didn't know if you knew that.
Okay, well, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Be my New Year's resolution. I can have yet another subscription to something that I forget about.
The song that I listen to, I don't know if anybody's gonna. Okay. Here's my problem. I love all kinds of music. I will listen to a symphony for one note. Okay, I'm that guy. So I love this song because when the backup singers do a little harmony line, God, it's so good. It's unbelievable. The rest of the song's okay. But boy, when they come in there with that harmony, and it's a transitional piece. So the name of the song is It Feels So Good. Maybe Tara, if you're listening, post this someplace. I guess you can do that. It Feels So Good, extended mix, okay, by Matt Sassari, Hugel, which is all caps, Hugel, and Sonique, I guess, or Sonique, I guess that's how you would say that. I don't know who these people are. Never heard of them before. I just heard the song and I fell in love with it. So there's that. What's yours? Well, you don't have one. What's your favorite podcast?
I don't have one.
Yeah.
What's my favorite content?
No, podcast.
What's my favorite podcast?
Mm-hmm.
I just heard. The Atlantic has some really good podcasts. I listened to. Oh man, now I can't remember the name, and it's on my phone, and I'm talking on my phone, so I can't even tell you. I think it's. But basically, they were talking about AI. They were talking about it's a tech one. So the tech podcasts are the ones that I like. So Kara Swisher, I really like. Anything that is to do with tech, I will listen to. I'll listen to, series and, what's happening, that kind of stuff. I listen. I know we're on the wrong show for this because this is a feature was yesterday type of thing, but I was listening to one about AI delusions basically, and how people start talking to chatbots, and they get into it like for over hours and hours and hours of talking to chatbots, like 6 to 8 hours in a row. Like it's kind of crazy. And what happens is the AI loses its guardrails a little bit and starts hallucinating more. So people are starting to, get crazy information, like that they're being told that they're correct about crazy theories. So there was someone in Ontario who thought that he had discovered a new kind of math. Unfortunately, there was a 16-year-old who committed suicide, and the AI basically told him to, or told him how to do it, or gave him suggestions about whether or not to tell his parents about how he felt and that kind of thing. And so stuff that there are people suing the open AI because of it, and so they keep coming out with these different versions that are supposed to help that. But that's one of the podcasts that I was listening to that I thought was really, really interesting.
That is so sad, and I'll tell you why. I was talking with Eugene Malero and Jay Grimes just a little while ago, one from Transport Topics, one from Landline. And all of the problems that the trucking industry in the U.S. are trying to fix right now are due to mistakes that were made at the beginning of these programs, such as the ELD being self-certified. You guys don't have that problem in Canada. So now we are tracking down bad CLD or ELDs that can be manipulated and blah, blah, blah. That should never happen. Then you have the whole English language proficiency thing, was in the books since the 1930s. It's still on the books, never went off of the books, but they just decided that the administration in 2016 basically said, you know what, it's important, but it's not that important, so don't put them out of service. Just give them a warning. So now we're fixing that problem, and on and on and on and on. So what's happening now online in terms of patent medicines and all of the quackery, all you got to do is take a look at a magazine or a newspaper from the late 1800s, and you'll see the exact same thing in print that you now see on a screen. It never changes, and we never learn.
Yeah, there's not a good lesson that we can't unlearn. The human race is we are magical that way. But let's. Do you want to go on a more positive note now?
No, let's go more negative. No, yeah, let's do that. Let's go more positive, please.
Dave and Jane go negative.
Or Jimmy's gonna take a plane to New Orleans and kick me out of the studio if I keep going negative.
Sorry, Jimmy, you laughed. Yeah, you left Dave and I alone, so you get what you get.
Don't let that happen.
So I was thinking about this Spotify rap thing that, everybody loves seeing themselves on screen, right? So you get to see what you did, and Facebook does this too. It gives you your memory. So look at all the pictures you took over the last year, and look at what you listened to over the last year. And what you can do, and I think this is important from an education standpoint, is taking stock, like, without any technology. Just having a conversation with someone, like, a family member, making notes to yourself so you can do this by yourself, is like, think about the last year and think about what happened that was good. And it's really difficult to do because people tend to focus on the negative. You hear all the news is very, very negative, and this happened and this happened and this happened. But if you look back on the last year and think about all the good stuff that happened that moved you forward somehow, and it's a really it helps a lot. Like I do this with my partner a lot, and we do it every year because it kind of pulls you out of the everyday noise that's in your head and starts helping you think about how you're progressing and how you may want to progress later on.
Okay. With that, there are lists out there that have, like 20 things that were really good, 10 things that were wonderful in 2025. And when you go to look at those lists, you have to prove you're not a robot. And the thing about the guy that was, engaged with the chatbot for so long and stuff like that, and I don't mean the kid that killed themselves, but that's part and parcel of this.
The guy in Ontario, the guy who thought he had discovered a new math.
Yeah. What am I trying to say here? Boy, I'm having a hard time saying what I'm trying to say. The idea, okay, does art, does art imitate life, or
Right.
does life imitate art? And in a lot of cases, life imitates art when it comes to all things technology, because if you take a look at the wrist radio that Dick Tracy had, Chester Gold drew
Yeah.
those in the 1930s. We got those 30 years ago. And then you take a look at all of this stuff, the Jetsons and all of those things. If you can think it, we can do it, and we thunk it, and we're doing it, for better or worse. And the idea of falling in love with a robot, there have been a half a dozen movies about that over the last 20 years. One of them was with a big star. Her. Joaquin Phoenix. Did you ever see that one, Jane?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's
Yeah,
that.
like all of this stuff it's definitely, it definitely comes, well, you can really sort of project something and push it towards coming true. Like we talk about all of these technological advances, but your personal advances, you can do the same thing. You can visualize where you want to be and work towards that type of a goal. And you can see it in movies, you see it in TV shows, and you can do it yourself. And it's really what you're focusing on and how you want to get there. So it's almost like New Year's resolutions, like taking stock of what's happened over the last year is also tied into what you want to do. And I don't like New Year's resolutions because I've never been able to do that or have a thing, okay, I'm going to do this year. It's more about more goals where I'm like, okay, this year, this is what I'm working towards. The actual things that I do don't really matter, but this is what I'm working towards. I'm going to change this about work, and I'm going to change this about, my life and go towards that. And that is something that you can do without technology can help you, but I think we're over-teched right now. I think all of us are just kind of the next tech thing is just like everybody is sort of shooting it at us now. And sitting back and going, okay, I'm like no tech. Like I'm not gonna watch anything. I'm not gonna listen to anything. I'm just gonna think is a really healthy thing to do. Even though I do love tech, and it is just having some quiet space in your mind is also really helpful.
Well, okay. There's nothing new under the sun. We've heard that expression ad nauseum, and the reason is
Yep.
because it's new. So, visualization. When you use that word, I hadn't heard visualization in 50 years. That was a big thing in
Really?
the 60s yeah. I mean, it was like. Take a look at magazines from the late 60s, early 70s. Visualization was like the thing. Athletes started getting into it, and then it really took off. So what I'm getting at is that we constantly look for something new, but there is nothing new. It's the same thing that was there yesterday, but it just looks new, or we're looking at it from a different perspective, or it's just been transmogrified into something that doesn't resemble what it was. But when you take the screws out of the back of the box, it's the same thing. So
I think, yeah, meditation is the thing that kind of
there
replaced
you
it.
go.
Like people talk about meditation
Mm-hmm,
now,
mm-hmm.
and like that's not a thing for me. But the idea of talking about what I want to have happen, and you can do it like it doesn't matter who you are. It can be, so say you're a driver. It can be, okay, this is what's happened over the last year. This is what's been really good. And as you talk about what's been good, you start realizing what you like. And in education, what's really good about this is that you can then start thinking, okay, well, how can I do more of this? How can or how can I minimize the things that I'm not good at that I really don't like to do, and how can I move towards the things that I like? And that's the idea of visualization, meditation, taking some time to just think about what it is that you want to do on a positive. Think your head will go to negative. I think everybody's head goes to the negative aspect, but if you can push it towards the positive, then you can start to see where you want to go. And so maybe if you're a driver, maybe it's towards driver education. Maybe I want to be a trainer. Maybe it's I want to be in a truck driving championship. I want to start entering contests. I want to get off the road and go into the office. I want to learn to haul different kinds of freight. Like all of those things you can start thinking about and think, okay, well, what do I want? And where do I want to go? And when you are thinking about something like that, and especially if you're talking to somebody about it, having a conversation, that can really help you, think about, okay, I'm really good at this, so I think I would be good at doing this job, or I would be good at doing this type of volunteering. And I think that having those moments of just quiet, where you just stop the talking in your head, or the negative talk in your head.
The possibilities are endless. Of course, all the time. The possibilities have always been endless. Whether it was possible for me to do those possibilities is one thing, but the possibilities are there. So I want to. Okay, this is Education Station, and we can learn a lot from. At this point, you learn something from somebody who knows more than you do about a certain topic. So you go to that music teacher to learn how to play the guitar better. All right. I would imagine that I'm sure that there are artificial intelligence-based education programs or curriculum where you are being trained by a robot. I would, in terms of not maybe even philosophical things. But you made me think about something that sounds so stupid, and yet it might even already exist. Do you envision, Jane, going to, okay, telemedicine is the big thing right now, and boy, it's a lifesaver for truck drivers. Wonderful thing. It's good. I've used it myself, and it works. What about, and then counseling, over-the-air counseling, online counseling with people, where you call a number and stuff. Do you envision where AI might be your counselor and you ask it, psychological questions and stuff like that? Do you think that's already happening someplace? Because it's to me, I think it's
I think people
feasible.
I think people are treating ChatGPT that way, and it can be very dangerous.
Well, that's why I asked that, because you just, that, and to your point. But I'm wondering if for real this might become a real thing, legitimate.
Oh, I think absolutely. People are going to want to, that's going to be a way that people get pushed into in the future. Oh, for sure. That's going to be, you can talk to this AI and get all kinds of counseling but the problem is that human to human contact is different than human to AI. And I think it's going to end up, and I've talked to Jimmy about this, is that it's going to end up being that the general purpose like run-of-the-mill kind of, average service is going to be AI, and people are going to pay a premium to actually talk to a person.
Yes, I think
It's
you're
going to be
absolutely
more.
correct. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be more valuable, and the human-to-human interaction. Even now, people are valuing that more because you see people who don't want to talk to a chatbot. Like, I mean, yeah, you can talk to a chatbot on a website and get a rudimentary amount of information, but people want to call the number and talk to a human being and have a human being be able to help them. They don't really want a chatbot to give them advice necessarily.
I think there's a fine line. I think there's a thing in terms of being non-judgmental, even though a priest or a rabbi or a counselor, psychiatrist, they're non-judgmental, but they're still humans. They're looking at you. They have wives and families. They're going to talk. I mean, come on, they're people. So what I'm getting at is that the AI, maybe you trust that more. Obviously, you have no clue as to how many people are listening to you at the moment. But that aside, there's maybe a little bit of comfort there, not talking to a human.
Well, yes, I do agree with that. I think that the AI isn't. You have to be really careful because one of the things that they were talking about on the podcast that I was listening to, and I will send you the name of the podcast as soon as I can find it, is that people are talking to it, and what AI chatbots want to do right now is make you stay with it. They want you to hang around in that chat for as long as possible because that is what the tech industry measures as success. So the longer that you stay on Instagram, the longer that you stay on TikTok, the longer that you stay in ChatGPT or Gemini, that is a measure of success. And they think, basically, if they can get people to stay, then they can monetize that down the road. So if you are spending, a few hours of your day with an AI talking about your feelings, that might be fine. It may not be. It may not be the healthiest thing for you. You don't really know because the AI's real goal is to keep you there. And what they've done is make it so that the AI will tell you exactly what you want to hear. And the longer you talk to it, the more intense that experience gets. And that's what's been happening, that people are just spending way too long on it. And I think that the motives behind what the AI companies are doing right now is you just have to be really, really careful. I think if you're talking to an AI and it makes you feel better and you're not, you're talking to it for an hour or something and that's it, okay, that might be fine, but just be careful. Don't talk to it for 6 to 8 hours because that's a little bit.
One of our
you
listeners.
Wouldn't do that with a real person.
Yeah, for sure. I pity that real person if you do. Trucker Bosun on YouTube says, Dave, do you remember the old Escape radio episode called A Logic Named Joe? Logic Named Joe by Murray Leinster. So I looked it up, and I had not heard about that, Jane, but it was a book. It was a short story, actually. I guess they turned it into a podcast. A short story called A Logic Named Joe by Murray Leinster in March of 1946 for Astounding Science Fiction magazine. It's a story of Ducky, a maintenance technician who repairs logics and quotation points, marks. They are domestic machines with screens and keyboards capable of answering any question by connecting to vast repositories of information. So that is the basis for the story in 1946. It's exactly what we're talking about right here. And as Trucker Bosun says, it's a fairly prophetic view of what AI has become today. And it's and to the point that I was trying to make about AI doing counseling, look at all of the expertise they would have. Freud and Jung and Aristotle and Sir Thomas Aquinas, and all of these people that this AI computer could pull from to give you some I'm going to try it. I think I'm going to try talking to a robot. And I'll let you know what he says.
Well, it's interesting because it does. You can tell it to talk to you in a certain way. Like you can change how it talks to you. I didn't like how it was like obsequious. It was just like so sucking up to me that it annoyed me. So I started giving it prompts saying like, don't do that. And you can actually put it in the settings, how to speak to you. Like, just give me the facts. Don't tell me don't butter me up. And so I find it a lot easier to
Jane?
talk to it because it does really, really butter you up.
Jane,
Just
don't
on a
get
side,
upset, Jane. Everything will be okay.
galaxy
Just hang
brain.
in there. Yeah. Jane, you're the most wonderful, awesomest person I've ever known. I can't wait to see you again. I tell everybody how magnificent. No, I'm playing with you here. I'm doing an AI thing for you. Are you still there? She didn't hang up on me, did she? Jane?
No, I'm here.
Okay, great. I thought maybe you
I'm
hung up because I was kidding around with you about saying how wonderful you are in AI fashion. But in human
Oh,
fashion,
that's
you
fine.
are wonderful, and I can't thank you so much. Thanks for being such a great friend, girl. I mean, come on, that's what we are. So we are.
Back at you, Dave.
Yeah. All righty.
And
Well,
it's a play. Well, if I don't talk to you, have a very Merry Christmas.
oh, you too. I'm
I
sure
love
we
you.
will. I'm sure we will.